There's a version of your girl who adores you right now, but right now you have the cold version, the one pulling away. That's because you're tuned into the wrong frequency. Today, I'll show you how to choose which version actually shows up. We're going live, baby.
We'll do it live.
You're listening to the premier podcast for men who want to not only be better with women, but want to be better men in general. This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host,
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer.
Paul Bauer. He is a certified master life coach and NLP practitioner.
It's true. It's damn true. It's Frame Friday, baby, and I'm fitting to bake some noodles today. If you are new to the channel, my name is Paul Bauer. I help men level up and get better with women. And the funny thing about doing that is it tends to make us better men in all areas of our lives. Now, stick with me because what I'm about to walk you through sounds like science fiction, but it's not. Right now, there's a version of your girl who looks at you the way she did on day one. There's also a version who can barely stand to be near you. Both exist at the same time. Physicists didn't formally propose this with the many worlds interpretation until 1957. Neville Goddard and the writers of the Kybalion, actually there was only really one writer of the Kybalion, were already saying it decades earlier. And one of my mentors, Dr. David Snyder, has spent his career studying how your brain builds the woman you think you're looking at. By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly why you keep getting the same version of her and how to start calling in a different one. So don't go anywhere. Now, we're going to get into the woo-woo a bit today, but as I've said in previous episodes, my goal isn't to get you to believe in the woo-woo, just to look at things a little differently. So what I want you to do is take your current beliefs about how the universe works, your faith, your religion, or lack thereof, your beliefs and understandings of science, and realize now that you're probably right. But now I want you to imagine that a big alien transporter beam blasts down from the sky and zaps you. Bam! Now you're beaming to another dimension, another world. When you look around, it looks very much like this world, but the laws of reality in the universe are different from what you're used to. Here, things work different from your world. Keep that in mind as we go through this. Now, the other day, I was on a date with Nurse Chick. I took her up to the Grand Mesa. If you guys tune into Wednesday's episode, I talked about how to ball on a budget, right? One of the things that we ended up doing, and it was really the reason why we did this particular date, is because she's a hospice nurse, and she had a horrendous day. She didn't get home from work until 7 p.m. And we were planning on having date night, and I was going to take her down to Junction and take her out to a nice dinner, and then down to like a speakeasy or something. But because her work got in the way, her work essentially, I can't say it at the 8-minute mark, or well, screw it, guys, send super chats, okay? Her work essentially cock blocked me. I had to pivot and come up with a different plan. So I go, you know what? Why don't we just go grab some Subway? I'll take you up to the Grand Mesa. We'll park and, have a scenic overlook of the city, like what teenagers do. And we'll have a nice little date that way. Well, as I'm driving up there to the Grand Mesa, I just start looking around, and all of a sudden I have this epiphany. Okay. You're the only one experiencing your reality right now. Now, I've talked about this on previous podcasts, right? I'm not experiencing your reality, okay? You're not experiencing my reality, okay? Everyone, others around you aren't experiencing your reality either, okay? They look like they are, but they're seeing things differently. They're filtering what's around them with different beliefs, stories, emotions, and so forth. Now, Hugh Everett, he came up with the multi-worlds interpretation back in 1957. Essentially, it's a physics theory that says all possibilities exist at once. It's where the concept of a multiverse came from. Okay, think Marvel and the multiverse in the Marvel series. Now, most of us are thinking of parallel dimensions or worlds or universes when we think of this, right? We look at the movie The One, for instance, where guys travel between dimensions, and then you kill the other versions of yourself and you take all their power, that sort of thing, right? But what if it's infinitely more simple than that? Think Occam's razor here, okay? The simplest explanation is probably the correct one and the best one, okay? Keep that in mind as we go through this. But when I was explaining this to Nurse Chick, I didn't do this on the date. I was telling her about this maybe Sunday or Sunday or Monday. Can't remember. We're sitting on the couch, and I'm telling her this, and you could just see her eyes get big like this, like her brain rebooted for a second. Because I told her, I go, in this moment right now, I'm experiencing a version of you. Okay, but there's infinite versions of me and there's infinite versions of you, according to the multi-worlds theory. And where they intersect are based on vibrational data that I'm picking up. And so this version of you is the version of you that I'm seeing right now. It could possibly be that you're not experiencing that version. It could be totally different, but I'm experiencing this version of you based on my current beliefs and assumptions and that sort of thing. And then she could be, like, her actual self could be experiencing me in a totally different version of reality because it's her version of reality. Okay. Now, that's kind of hard to think about. Okay. It's hard to think about, but if you really dig down deep, it makes perfect sense. So we're going to get into that today. Keep that in mind. Well, while you're pondering that idea, do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, I want you to think about something, okay? Have you ever heard the riddle or the question of if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? You've probably heard that, right? Drop it in the comments right now. When a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Okay. No wrong answers. Well, I mean, there are wrong answers, but, but whatever you think, drop it in the chat right now. I'd love to hear it. Okay. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of seconds. I'm not seeing anyone dropping in the chat, and I'm just going to ramble until someone drops something in the damn chat to get me to start talking and get on with my point. Because a lot of people will be like, would you just get to the point? And I would love to get to the point if you guys start participating. And there's at least 10 people watching right now. So at least one of the 10 people can drop a... Okay, there we go. I see someone in the chat now. They're like, shut up, Paul. Woody says, what up, brother? Here's something that got me on those hidden... Okay, I don't want to hear about that. I want to hear whether a tree falling in the woods makes a sound if no one's around to hear it. Woody, what do you think? Drop that in the chat. I don't want to hear about your bitch ex-wife. Okay. That's not what we're talking about today. Anybody, Bueller, someone, I'm going to send a message to Wolfpack here to get someone. Okay. CW says, yes. Okay. Finally, we got someone that can follow directions. CW says, morning, gents and Nurse Chick. Yes. The tree makes a sound. Okay. Most people would say that. Okay. But it doesn't make a sound. It doesn't make a sound because sound is a function of an observer. Okay. It's the interpretation of vibrational data hitting your ears and being interpreted as by your brain. That's a sound. Okay. Otherwise, if you're not there to interpret that as a sound, it's just sound waves. You see? It might make vibrations, but if nothing is there to interpret those vibrations as sound, there is no sound, just raw vibrational data, okay? And that includes a tape recorder, okay? A tape recorder is something that's interpreting that vibrational data, but it's not interpreted by your brain to sound until you listen to that tape. Then the tree didn't make the sound. The tape's making the sound now. You see where I'm going with this? That being said, I want you to think of your girl. She probably won't stop making sounds, right? She won't shut the fuck up, right? That's why Nurse Chick is so awesome, because she never talks, okay? Now, I want you to think about something. You've never seen your girl directly. Never once. Never once. You've probably been with her for 3 years, 5 years, 15 years, 30 years. You've never seen her directly, okay? You've only your own reconstruction of her based on vibrational data interpreted through vision, hearing, scent, taste, and touch. Okay. Your brain is in a bone. Okay. It's in a dark, cavernous space in your brain or in your skull. And it's interpreting the data that comes in through your eyes, through your smell, through your tongue, your touch, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. You've never seen her directly. That vibrational data was then filtered through your animal instinct brain. Then a feeling was attached to it. And that feeling was fed to your rational brain, and a story was created. A map of reality was then created by your brain. Okay. You've never seen her directly. All right. Now, drop it in the chat right now. Which version of her have you been getting? The one from day one, or the one who could barely stand being around you? And if this is hitting you and you want to throw a few bucks to keep the show running, that's what the super chats are for. I read every comment either way, so this one's just you helping keep the bills paid. Now, we have this Hermetic principle of mentalism. Okay, Hermetic philosophy goes back to ancient Egypt. Okay, ancient Egypt, the Greeks, they believed in these certain philosophies. Okay, and one of their principles is the all is mind, the universe is mental. It's the principle of mentalism. Now, remember at the beginning of the episode when we teleported to this universe? Well, in this universe, you are the universe, right? Everything you see around you is a construct of your own mind. Everything you hear, touch, smell, and taste are all just interpretations of vibrations coming from a place that a book called Reality Transurfing calls the space of variations. It's your mind that is constructing that into something that feels real and tangible, okay? Kind of like the movie The Matrix, yeah? Is that air you're breathing right now? That means everything is an interpretation of the mind. The all really is mind. The universe, in this universe, really is mental. Just like the movie The Matrix. So if everything you're experiencing starts in the mind, then the real question is, which version of your mind is actually running the show? Most men listening right now are operating off of a paradigm somebody else installed in them years ago. One built on hesitation, self-doubt, second-guessing, every move he makes with his girl. Psychology paradigm exists to replace that paradigm directly. That's this book. This is the old cover. I just updated it. Specific I am statements repeated at the two windows where your subconscious actually accepts new information, right when you wake up and right before you fall asleep, before your conscious mind has fully shown up to argue with what you're feeding it. Pair that with visualization and the repetition the book walks you through, And that's the whole install process, the psychology, that psychology paradigm. But here's the thing nobody tells you. You can rebuild the most commanding paradigm in the world inside your head, and none of it shows up in the bedroom if the execution doesn't match what's now running upstairs. The mind sets the direction, the body has to deliver it. That gap is exactly what my new book, Dick Her Downright, closes. Grab both during the break. Links are in the description in the chat, but stick around because I have yet to begin to bake your noodle.
Have you ever had sex and honestly wondered, did she actually enjoy that, or was she just going along with it? Because chances are she's had better and she remembers it. What if I told you there's a way to make sure you're the one she can't stop thinking about? Most guys think good sex is about stamina or size. It's not. The men women are genuinely obsessed with aren't the biggest or the longest lasting. They're the ones who know exactly what they're doing. They're not fumbling around hoping something works. They walk in with a plan. They read her body. They control the whole experience from the first move to the last. And when it's over, she's not thinking about sleep. That's not some rare natural talent. That's a skill set, and it can be learned. Dick Her Downright is the no-nonsense manual that breaks down exactly how women's bodies and minds work during sex, how to take charge of the experience like you actually know what you're doing, and how to become the man she's telling her friends about. Not the guy she had an okay time with, the guy she keeps coming back to, the guy she'd do almost anything to keep happy because what he does to her is in a category by itself. Every technique, every approach, every psychological principle is laid out straight. No theory, no filler, just the real information that makes the difference between average and unforgettable. Dick Her Downright is available on Amazon or Audible now. Any man who wants to be better in bed and have any woman he's with completely hooked on him needs this book. Get it today.
Indeed. Let's look at the chat here. We've got Woody says, yes, it does. All right. And let's see here. And then Urkin says, if a tree falls, it makes a noise. It is your fault if you're not present to hear it. And and Modi says, how to know the version of her. It's like she has multiple personalities. And then going back to Woody about yes, it does, and Urkin, if the tree falls, it's your fault. Not in this universe. Not in this universe. Okay, we beamed here. The aliens beamed us here at the beginning of the episode. I don't know if you guys were there for that. Modi says, what book is the first to buy? It really depends on your situation. The way I've written my books, they're not all in a sequential order. It's really based on what your needs are in the moment, right? So I have Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18 is really my book on dating. It's like, I mean, it talks about building a whole life for yourself, but the big chunk of the book is the dating circuit and how to spin plates and find better women. And then Psychology Paradigm would be good for everybody. It's all about rewiring ineffective beliefs and paradigms that you were programmed with since you were a kid. And then there's the Red Pill Guide series, and those three books are kind of a which way series. Like however you got to the space, like if your wife's not fucking you right now, Get Her to Fuck You Again is the book. If you just went through a divorce or a breakup, Forget That Bitch is the book. If you are in a new relationship or you managed to turn your relationship around and things are actually pretty good, Keep Your Bitch is that book. And then Dick Her Downright is for every guy, just to be better in the bedroom, because you might have fairly decent physical skills in the bedroom, but there's all sorts of psychology stuff in there about how to get inside your girl's head and make her addicted to you. So that's what Dick Her Downright's about. So the links in the chat, though, you can take a look at all of them and see which one speaks to you. Let's see, what else do we got here? CW says, I'm seeing the 2026 version of my LTR. All right, fair enough. And today's topic is sensory organs. Yeah, pretty much. And Phil's in the house. He says, hoorah, brother. Good to see you. All right. So now, so we talked about the principle of mentalism. The Hermetics have 7 principles, and the next one we're going to talk about is the principle of correspondence. The principle of correspondence says, as above, so below. And it's also, you might hear about it in other books as within, so without. And I'm reading a really interesting book right now on Hermetic Kabbalah with a Q, which is interesting because I read a book a couple years ago on the Idiot's Guide. I think it was like the Idiot's Guide or the Kabbalah for Dummies or some shit. And it was just because I was like, what's this all about? So I didn't want to go really in depth on it. I just wanted to get a basic understanding. So Kabbalah for Dummies was interesting, but it was spelled with a K. And I'm now realizing that there's 3 different ways to spell Kabbalah. Kabbalah with a K is the traditional Jewish mystic version of Kabbalah, and it's largely like religious based. There's a lot of doctrine and stuff, like Jewish doctrine and shit in that. And then there's Kabbalah with a C, which is the Christian based version of Kabbalah that came out in the Middle Ages. And then Kabbalah with a Q came out in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it's more of a Hermetic version of it. So I'm going through that now, and they used an algebra equation to show how the law of correspondence works in mathematics. Because a lot of people, like, they can't wrap their brain around some of this esoteric shit, but they believe in math because math is an exact science, right? So just as a demonstration of the law of correspondence, I have a basic algebra problem. 2 plus x equals 4. So let this part represent your inner world or the below world, right? So if you wanted to get esoteric, the below world would be physical reality, right? But you could also look at it as your inner world, like your mind, okay? And then let this area over here represent the outer world, or the outer world, or the you can look at above, right? So above, okay? But if we know what's on this side, we can extrapolate what's on this side, right? So we know that 2 plus x equals 4, okay? So we know if we subtract 2, right, we get 2. So 2 equals x, okay? We're able to figure this out because we have data that we can extrapolate on, okay? We can deduce what's above or without based on this universal law, okay? So the outer version of your reality matches your inner beliefs and assumptions. Your current interpretation of your girl matches the inner story you're telling yourself about her. Think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, okay? The outer version that you're seeing of your girl matches your inner story you're telling yourself about her. And what you'll say is, well, yeah, that story's true. But is it? Because it's just a story you told yourself, right? Like, go back to what I was saying at the beginning. What you're seeing of her is just data that's going through your mammalian, animal brain, your lizard brain, okay? And that's got all sorts of beliefs, assumptions, past history, shit, like you saw your parents' relationships and all that kind of stuff, right? You've got all this stuff wrapped up in there, which creates a feeling. Okay. And right now that feeling might be a negative feeling. My mom, all growing up, was a terrible nag. And the reason why I believe that probably is because my dad was constantly going, stop fucking nagging me. Right. Right. And so then I grew up believing, oh yeah, this behavior is nagging. And, and you can't see past it because that's the filter I'm looking it through. So now that creates a feeling of animosity in me, like, fuck off, don't tell me what to do, kind of thing, right? That's the version I'm seeing. I'm not seeing the version of her where she is genuinely cares about me and genuinely wants to see me succeed and genuinely wants to help me in that direction. But she sees that I'm not following through on the stuff I need to follow through on. I see nagging and bitchy behavior, right? And so then when, so I have this belief, I've been programmed with that since childhood because I've seen my parents interact with each other. And then I go into my relationships, and then women, it's almost like they all fucking do this, right? They all do this stuff. They all fucking nag, right? Or do they? I just want you to, I'm just putting this caveat out there for you guys to think about this for a little bit, okay? The outer version of your reality matches your inner beliefs and assumptions, okay? Now, if this is already connecting the dots for you, toss a super chat in, would you? Help support the show. That's not what we want. We want this one. Fun fact, the men who invest in the content invest in themselves, okay? Now, where most men get this backwards, there's in the book Reality Transurfing, which I think is a great book. It's so fucking long. It's 37 hours long, but it's really well done. As soon as you tune into it, or like turn it on, if you get it on Audible or something like that, the guy does a phenomenal job of creating production value, right? So like, unlike my audiobooks where it's just me reading, he's got sound, he's got music playing in the background that sort of creates this experience. It's really well done, right? It's very entertaining to listen to. And it starts off with him talking about this dream that he's going through, and he's, ends up in, I can't remember what he's doing, but he ends up wanting to live in this area. And this guide that's with him is like, well, why can't you? Right. And that's how the book starts. But one of the things that he talks about is this mirror analogy. Okay. And almost all this stuff is an analogy or a metaphor just to get you to see things from a different perspective, right? Your outer world is like a mirror reflecting back at you. And what most men are doing is trying to change what they see in the mirror by trying to touch the mirror, move it around, right? Oh, she's a bitch. She needs to change, right? God, there was a post on social media today. This guy has been commenting a lot lately. And it's your typical type of comment, which is, he says, like it was one of the things about, dead bedroom situation. He goes, well, she needs to work on herself and become more secure within, which is harder for women because their hormone shifts play a constant role in their emotional safety. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I go, well, that may be true, but what's your plan to change her? Because that's what most guys are trying to do. Their wife's a bitch. Their wife's not fucking them. I got to change her. She's the problem. Right? So they're going up to the mirror and they're trying to move what's in the mirror, but it doesn't work that way. When you go up to the mirror to change what's in it, if you're stopped by the fucking glass that's there, right? You can't fucking change what's behind that. Or can you? Okay? All you're doing when you're trying to do that shit is leaving smudges on the fucking glass. Okay? If you want to change the image in the mirror to make it smile, for instance, you have to smile. You have to change something about yourself before you see the mirror change. If you want your bitchy wife to smile more, when she's yelling at you being a bitch, just smile at her. She might get mad for a minute because you're not fucking, going into her frame. We talk about frame a lot in Red Pill, yeah? She eventually realizes she can't, her actions aren't creating the reaction she's expecting based on her assumptions. And she just sees you smiling. And eventually she's going to break and start giggling a little bit and start smiling. She says, what are you smiling about? You see what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm going with this stuff, guys? Now, you just heard why trying to fix the mirror doesn't work. The men in Wolfpack last night weren't just hearing that concept. They were working through what it actually looks like in their specific situation, live with other men who are already applying it. That conversation happened last night. You were either a part of it or you weren't. Don't miss the next one. The link's in the description. Bear Club? Not anymore.
life drift, feeling alone. You don't need hacks, blogs, lies. You need men with fire in their eyes. We rebuild from the ground up. No excuses, no soft stuff. Telegram lit 24/7. Brothers locked in steel, not heaven. Step inside the pack. We don't fall, we attack. Truth, fire, presence, we bring it back. Masculine pride, no time to slack. Step inside the pack. Drop your past, claim your track. No therapy talk, no playing small. We sharpen blades, we take it all.
Oh, for the love of God, Too Sweet Me. You know what? I didn't put up the little thingy. There we go. Too Sweet Me now. Okay. Can of Rockstars in the house. Good morning, fellas. Good to see you, brother. Modi says, I didn't see the Dicker Down book. Yeah, it's and he found it. It's on Amazon. It is. All my books are on Amazon or Audible. If you would rather listen to it rather than read it. I'm the same way. I'd much rather listen to an audiobook than take time to sit down and read it. Can of Rockstar, mirror smudger is a great insult. You fucking mirror smudger. Goddamn mirror smudgers. Sounds racist. I don't know. I'm just making shit up. CW says the mirror responds to you, so it doesn't change until you do it. Yeah, it's true. Fuck yeah, brother. Too sweet, baby. Too sweet. And guys, just a reminder, smashing like is, in fact, alpha. Okay. I talked to Rollo Tomasi himself, the godfather of the red pill, and he did actually say that smashing like is, in fact, alpha. Okay. All right, guys. Now we're going to do something here. We're going to do a little exercise. I'm going to need your full attention for this one, okay? Because there's an actual mechanism for changing sectors in the space of variations, okay? Remember what I said before. All realities exist at once in what reality transurfing refers to as the space of variations, okay? You could also look at it like a space of probabilities and stuff, okay? But I want you to try something right now. Think of the version of your girl that's been driving you crazy. The bitch one, the distant one. Got her? Got her in your head? Now I want you to point where you feel that in your body. Okay? First impression, just wherever you like when you think of your wife being a bitch, point to it in your body where you feel it. Okay? Actually point to it with one hand. Now reach out with your other hand to touch the picture connected to that feeling. Trace the edges of it with both hands so you know exactly how big it is. All right. And if you're driving, go ahead and just imagine this. Now take that picture. Okay. You've traced around the edges. Make it bigger. Notice what happens to the feeling. Get stronger, right? Now put it back to its original size. Now pull it closer to your body. Feels even stronger again, right? Now take that picture, crush it up, throw it behind you, past the horizon, behind your back, as far as back as you can send it. Swoosh. Notice what happens to the feeling. That's the architecture. The picture has a structure, location, size, distance, and your nervous system is reading all of it. Leave that picture of her back there. In fact, I want you to notice you hearing a tapping sound, like someone is tapping a nail into the wall. That negative picture of her is stuck back there now, behind you. Now, here's what I want you to do. Think of a version of her you actually want. The one from day one. The one where she was smitten with you. The one where you felt like she only had eyes for you. Find that picture. Point to where you feel it. First impression. And reach out and touch it. Trace the edges. Now stretch it out really wide. Super wide. Twice as big as your body. Now pull it close and wrap it around you like a blanket. Swoosh. Notice the feeling. That picture was already there. You just haven't been choosing it. Now, this only works if you follow the directions. Okay, you don't have to believe me. You just have to follow the directions. So if you didn't play along just now, go back and listen to that part again and actually play along. Okay. Follow me on social media, guys. The links are in the description. That's not what I wanted, but go ahead and like, subscribe, hit those notifications while you're at it. There we go. Follow me on social media, guys. Links are in the description. This is going to be a short episode today, guys, but that's cool because it's the weekend, right? Now I hear what you guys are saying. I hear Erkin way off in Sweden or wherever, fucking Europe or wherever he's at. Okay, Paul, all this woo-woo stuff is fun and all, but the way my girl acted last night was really bitchy or whatever, right? Fine. That event happened. I want you to separate the event from the meaning you assign to it and keep replaying, though. The event happened. There's no dispute. The story about what it means and what she'll do next time is your assumption. And that's the only part you have control over. It's the only part. Your mind has been doing that on autopilot up until now, up until this moment. So when would now be a good time to take back control of that? To wrap up here, today's episode was never to get you to believe in the woo-woo. Brother Dale last night, we're on the Wolfpack call. Brother Dale's like, I told the guys that I was doing a woo-woo episode today, and he goes, you know what, Paul, I'm out, bro. I'm out. I can't do it. I can't do it. I go, well, we're going to handle that in the beginning. I go, have you ever watched the Game of Thrones? He goes, nope, not once. He goes, I fucking tuned into that. I saw a dragon. I immediately fucking changed the channel. Fuck that. Dragons don't exist. And I go, okay. Have you ever watched James Bond? And he goes, oh yeah, obviously watch James Bond. Fuck yeah. Like, who doesn't watch James Bond? I go, you ever seen the movie Moonraker? He goes, oh yeah, that was a great movie. My dad and I watched that one. I'm like, uh-huh. But you could believe that NASA's got guys in spacesuits fucking having a laser fight with Blofeld in outer space, and that's believable to you somehow? But dragons, that's too far. You guys are funny. You guys crack me up. It was never to get you to believe in the woo-woo, okay? It was to get you to see things from a different perspective so you stop trying to change your girl. And to start deciding which version of her you're holding in your mind and to watch who shows up when you change how you look at her, okay? That's what the goal of today's episode is. What's going on up here? I saw a hot chick in the comments. Hold on. Oh, yep, there it is. She says, good morning, gentlemen. Hey, nurse chick. Nurse chick always gets this.
I'm so naughty.
Bad.
I'm gonna come. That pussy must be ridiculous.
Guys, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm telling you. CW says, maybe I'm still half asleep, but throwing the picture behind me didn't feel any different. Go back and listen to it again after you've had a cup of coffee. And then listen to it again. And then maybe one more time after that. Gigi says, hey guys, glad to join. Good to see you, man. And Erkin says, I am noise intolerant. Otherwise, nagging would be fine with me. I fucking hate it. I hate my mom nagging me, man. Fucking hell. She is a fucking nag. That's reality. God damn it. Okay. All right, guys. That's all I got for this episode. Shorter episode today, but that's okay. Short episodes are good. Tune in to the podcast on Monday. We will be going over chapter 2 in Dick Her Down Right, which is all about building and maintaining irresistible sexual tension. That sexual tension is what keeps her in a state of arousal where she wants sex all the fucking time. Okay. And this is where a lot of men let things slide after getting into a long-term relationship. Okay. A lot of guys, I see it in the fucking comments all the time. I see it in the Wolfpack, you know, especially with newer guys. They think that once they get into an LTR or once they put a ring on it, that now sex is like a vending machine and you're supposed to just get it whenever you want. And you don't have to fucking do anything. Okay. but women don't work that way. I mean, if you have a woman that, she values the relationship, even if you're not blowing her skirt up, she'll fuck you almost every time, right? You might have free use or whatever for a while, but that only lasts for so long if you're not stimulating her some way. Okay. If you might lay the pipe great in the bedroom and then she might, that might be good enough. Okay. But for a vast majority of guys, that's not the way it works. And so they think, oh, okay, well, now we just, we go to bed at sexy time, right? It's sexy time. And that starts drying up over time because you've done nothing to get her in the mood. Okay. Women, it actually doesn't take much once you understand how to keep sexual tension going in a long-term relationship. But most guys just let that go. They immediately just go into, well, I don't have to do anything anymore. And now it's fucking robotic. Let me just put 50 cents in the vending machine, A3, and get the sex candy bar that comes out, right? But that's not how it works, okay? So if sex has been dwindling for you, it's probably because of the sexual tension thing. That or you're not giving her regular orgasms, okay? It could be a mixture of both or one or the other, okay? But if you package this all together, she's going to want sex all the fucking time. We've got a brother in Wolfpack right now who's been in the pack for, 6 months now, maybe. His updates on his wife are vastly different from when he first joined. Vastly different. In fact, today he was saying how they got to go over to his mom passed away. And so they got to go over to her house to handle the estate sale and stuff like that. And so they're going to stay the night at his mom's house. And his wife says to him, she's like, I want you to show me what you did to all your little high school girlfriends when you would bring them over to your mom's house, right? I want you to, I want you to fuck me like one of your high school girls, right? Like that's how she was saying it, right? She never would have done that 6 months ago when he first joined the pack, and it's because he's incorporating the stuff I'm about to talk about on Monday about keeping that sexual tension going, doing the stuff that I talk about in the bedroom, the left eye stuff, the whispering in the ear stuff, the NLP stuff. He's now seeing a completely just unleashed sexual version of his wife that he's never seen the entire time they've been married. Okay. The shit works if you work it. All right. But that's all we got, guys. Do be sure to tune in on Monday. AK says nagging is torture. Fucking torture. Right. But if you change the mirror, right? Like I said, if she's nagging the shit out of you and you just sit there and smile at her, and when she's like, what are you smiling about? You'd be like, God damn, you're adorable right now. And then completely ignore her. You're changing the mirror. She's going to eventually go, all right, you're right. She's going to start smiling. She's going to get out of her women brain and into the moment. Okay. A lot of this is all we're talking about today. Okay. Whether you believe in the woo or not, even though it's totally fucking real. It's totally fucking real. All right, guys, that's all I got for this episode. Do be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. I do have new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You guys have yourselves a good weekend.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.